Hello, 420 MSP crowd community. Harry Brailsford here. We're going around the horn with Marc Haskelson, our monthly chat. He's one of our contributors. And what I like about Marc and the Compliancy Group and what he's doing is we're keeping it serious here, folks. And that's what we wake up thinking about with the cannabis vertical. I've said it once, I've said it twice, I'll say it again. But we're not here to emphasize the partying side. This is a business opportunity. There are plenty of other publishers who will meet your needs in that category. We're not one of them. With that said, Marc, you came up with a great topic here for the month of June. If I understand it correctly, it's from going from managed services provider and expanding to be a business solution provider, a BSP. Go. Let's rock.
All right. So, and by the way, this works in other markets as well, but for specifically the medical marijuana arena, these organizations have very unique and specific challenges they have to address. So if you go, you can address them a couple of different ways. By traditional, the MSP, you are helping with their security and technology, but they have a much larger problem. There are very specific requirements, especially, let's say, for example, on the compliance side, as well as with the technology side for them, and that they have to do seed to sale because they cannot access the traditional banking routes. They have very special requirements that if you become instead of being an MSP about just saying, hey, I'm going to deal with making sure your computers are right, I'm going to help you address what is all your business problems. So you then are bringing to them, so for example, tools to help them with their compliance, tools to help them with inequities of their billing. They have very specific tracking from a seed all the way to sale has a different point. The point of sale technology is different. So by focusing or representing yourself as a business solution provider, you are clearly doing a couple different things. One, You're differentiating yourself. Two, the economic advantage is now you can charge a much higher rate. So let's say in the traditional healthcare space, partners that we see are taking the approach as a BSP are charging minimum $175 to $200 per user, and they're finding it very defensible because they're solving a business problem. This client had a problem. They are outsourcing not my security, not my Office 365, but what is the infrastructure of my business. And I think it allows you to go higher rates, higher retention. Also makes it much harder for competitors to compare to you, right? Because you're now solving a much larger set of needs for them that go much farther beyond than just security. And one of the things that I often hear from the BSP folks that are going this path is their fear that, hey, that means I got to invest time, money, liability. Most of these players, or as you get into this space, the vendors themselves will provide the value for you, right? So you don't have to invest a ton of time, money, and effort in staff. The vendors are more than willing to put up that infrastructure for you.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people forget that maybe I'm just a old jaded server side big iron guy, and we viewed vendors as evil. We need to turn that around. Because the times have changed. At a minimum, we're in cloud and new, much lighter technologies, as I would say. And then, but to your point, the vendors can be an ally in your journey, right? And now, trust but verify. Marriages are complicated. I get all that. But that's a takeaway from this month's contribution from you is that reach across the aisle and work with your vendors, and you would be surprised. Oftentimes their voices will lower a little bit, and they'll kind of maybe do this and say, we actually have a skunk works team or a team looking at the cannabis vertical. And they're not quite ready to come out yet. So it's the main takeaway I take from this. And then final question for the month of June, since we kind of talked about medicinal marijuana, is I see if an MSP niched on that, and maybe the broader niche is medicinal marijuana and healthcare, But even within healthcare, you could have a niche within a niche. And I'll give you an example would be palliative care and pain management. You know, there's an MSP out there watching this interview that could be Mr. or Mrs. Palliative Care. I mean, that's what I do, right? I know the Medicaid laws, I know that this, I know that, and I can speak authoritatively. That's how I roll. You know, I riches and niches.
Well, it's funny that you say it, because one of the things that a lot of the public speaking we do with MSPs is I stress to them, for example, if you just take healthcare, right? Not all specialties, there's over 80 specialties, and medical or medicinal marijuana being one of them now.
Right.
They perform very differently, right? When you're talking to, you know, the most common one I hear is, well, I looked at healthcare, the dentists weren't interested. I'm like, you know, that's kind of like you bought not there's anything wrong with a Hyundai or you know, a Kia, but you could have been talking to the guy who wanted to buy the Mercedes, right? And you know, and depending on what type of specialty they're in, drives very different interactions with the technology, and as well as the vendors. Like, for example, one of the things I would say for the MSPs is, think about it. There's a whole bunch of companies servicing this industry. Become the expert at servicing the companies that service the industry. So that kind of specialty goes a long way.
Yeah, it does. And thank you, Mark. I'm going to end on this, folks. If you're in the Seattle area, I will be at the CBD Expo that focuses on health and wellness. It's this coming Friday and Saturday in the Seattle area at the Motif Hotel. So end of June, the CBD Expo tour. Click over to cbdexpo.net, and they're also going to Denver and a variety of other cities. So I would encourage you to keep it real. And this will be, again, Mark, to our point earlier, the CBD Health and Wellness Expo is the kind of conference I want to go to. That's going to be a very serious conference with medical conversations, on, of course, compliance. So, well, sir, have a great 4th of July week. I'm calling it the week because of the placement of the 4th of July. I'm hearing that people are taking the whole week off. So hopefully you get a little bit of time, and we'll see you next month, Mark. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a good day, everybody.